do your whatever. Kimleigh, we're going to go live right now. Who do you want to do a shout out to?
We're giving a shout out to DSC for being so amazing.
DSC,
Thank
here
you.
we go. Guys, our guest today is an actress, best-selling author, internationally acclaimed, multi-award-winning solo performer, sex-positive, sex assault awareness advocate, speaker, and founder of Embrace Your Cape philosophy. Her first movie was with Garry Marshall's The Princess Diary, and has done a bunch of television. And her credits include things like DC's Legends of Tomorrow, one of my favorites,
Yes, one of mine
Shameless,
too.
911, Everything's going to be okay, and a host of others. She has proudly written and continues to perform her solo show, Totally, which has received and reviews around the entire world. Let's give it up for Kimleigh Smith. Hey, Kimleigh. Woo-hoo.
Thank
We
you. That
need
was a beautiful introduction. Mwah,
we need a
blushing.
giant audience so that it can be, we love
Yeah.
her.
Ah, and the crowd goes wild.
The crowd totally goes wild. You've got like one of the longest resumes ever. And just for you guys know, I didn't get to like, I'm going to say I didn't even get to like one quarter of her resume with the shows and amazing things that she has done. So we're going to talk about some of those things, but I want to jump right into talking about living out loud, which is one of the things you do. So just what is living out loud and what does it mean to you? How do we do it?
What's so funny because I am a sexual assault survivor, and my whole, for most of the life before I recovered, I lived in silence and was ashamed of my voice and didn't feel worthy and didn't feel like I had a purpose on this earth. And as I started to heal and grow and really start to embrace my cape, which we'll talk about later, I started to live out loud and unapologetically and not in shame of who and what I am. And so for me, living out loud is honoring everything that you've been through in your life without shame, without fear, without sadness, without grief, and owning it, right? I own my rape as much as I own who I am today. Because without that, I would not have grown into the woman I am. Like, I would not wish that upon anybody. But in my life, I had to choose to honor everything that I've been through so that I could live happy, healthy, and out loud. Out loud and proud, as they
Let's
say.
talk about the that for just one moment. We'll start with the rape, because when people look at you and listen to you and feel you, and you see your Instagram and we see your TV shows you've been on, nobody believes that Kimleigh is anything but out loud and ready to go. So how did you go from rape victim? I don't even know if that's the right word to use anymore.
That's correct.
But
That's correct.
okay, how do we go from that to the amazingness that you are right now?
Wow. So I would say victim, survivor, thriver, superhero, and that's kind of been my journey. Oh gosh, there's so many different ways. Like for me, writing was the thing that healed me the most. And writing my one woman show and sharing my honest story with the world is what changed my life more than I could ever imagine. Yes, I went through therapy. I went through hypnotherapy. I went through every therapy that you can imagine. I lived self-destructively for many years until I woke up one day and was like, oh, that's not fun. And it's like, I don't know. I feel like it's one of those things where really owning who I was gave me the freedom to be who I am. If that makes any sense, owning who I was gave me the freedom to be who I am. And through writing, through helping other people own their stories, through helping other survivors become thrivers and superheroes, through really knowing that my purpose on this earth is to help people own their stories and really honor their lives. That's what healed me, and it took many years. I was in repression for 8 years after my sexual assault, and woke up one day having these horrible dreams and realizing what happened to me. And from that day forth, it has been trudging forward to become the beautiful woman that I am, and to be able to call myself beautiful after so many years of feeling unworthy and unhealthy and unhappy and unbeautiful is really powerful for
So is
me.
that how you actually got to the whole embrace your cape philosophy?
Yes, yes. My one woman show was the catalyst to embracing my cape, and the show came out of my gut. It's one of those things that when I help people write their shows and direct them and create these lives with them and help them own their lives is really realizing the magic in writing. So I remember just writing and writing and writing, and everything sounded terrible. I thought I was horrible. And then one day I went to sleep, and by the grace of God and the universe and whatever you believe in, that show came into my heart. And I called my friend and I said, grab your camera. And I acted out everything I saw inside my head and created this show. And I was like, oh, this is what writers feel like when they have the aha moment. And I had that aha moment. And honestly, I didn't want to write about it. I was like, this is not what I want to do. I wanted to sing and dance and act and shuck and jive. I didn't want to do some stupid show about my gang rape. You know what I mean? And, and it was funny because when it came to me, even the choreography, that I was a professional dancer for many, many years. And so movement's a really huge part of my life. And so the movement, the everything. So this show has acting, singing, dancing, my choreography, just this beautiful journey from broken to beautiful is what I like to call it. And Embrace Your Cape came out of that because Alicia Keys, what an amazing, amazing star. Her voice, her lyrics, her strength really empowered me, and Superwoman became kind of my anthem out of my show. And it ends my show with me actually embracing my cape and watching it flow, coming from unfurl to flow. And that's how the show ends, and I love it so much. Oh, thank you,
Yeah.
Kaden. Yeah, that was the beginning of our journey. But it really is one of those things where, and I think I said this the other day when we were speaking briefly, that our capes represent every single thing we are, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And I believe you cannot live out loud unless you honor your good, your bad, and your ugly, because you can't really grow if you're in denial, right? If you're pretending to be something that you're not, you can't really grow. And growth comes from uncomfortability, right? When you are comfortable, nothing changes. You're just like, I'm sitting back, I'm relaxed, and I'm good. But when you are uncomfortable, that's when life changes you. And that's what my show did for me. It was the most uncomfortable conversation with the world I've ever had. And that gave me the strength to really embrace my cape.
I saw you in a picture the other day. It was a picture of you wearing this very long, flowing red cape, and it was, I'm going to mess up the quote exactly, but it says, um, I'm not saying that I am a superwoman, but I've never seen me and Wonder Woman
Wonder
in the
Woman.
same room at the same time.
And
So,
I believe we're all superheroes. I mean, being a superhero is as simple as waking up every day and doing what you're supposed to do, right? Like, it's not that serious. And when you think of every superhero, they all have a kind of tragic origin story. And my origin story was tragic. I was sweet and innocent and just the beam of light growing up. And then I got gang raped, and that changed the trajectory of the person I was at the time and changed me into the person I am. And I believe that that origin story helped me to become the superwoman that I am, helped me to really embrace my cape and, you know, weirdly look at life in, that old saying, hurt people.
yep.
I
How
found
do you how do
some,
you how do you deal with that though? How do you get to go from the hurt person, and let's say you want to talk to somebody else right now, and they've had that whole
yeah.
conversation. They've been either date raped or they had a trauma in their lives. They've lost something. How do you go from that sort of drama and trauma in one's life to being amazing like you are now?
Mm. I think forgiveness is the biggest thing that you can do. Not only forgiving the person that hurt you or the people that hurt you, but forgiving yourself. Because I think a lot of, and I feel this deeply, most people who go through trauma first blame themselves, whether it's
Yeah.
gang rape, whether it's, abuse from their parents. We blame ourselves as if we did something, because abusers will have a tendency to put their drama and trauma on us. And if you can find a way to forgive yourself, you didn't do anything that made that trauma happen. All you did was be yourself. And if you can forgive yourself and forgive the people that hurt you or the person or whatever happened in your life, you will find peace. I had
Let
even
me ask you
forgiven.
about that.
Yeah,
There's one of the things that I've seen is I've watched. I don't watch them all the time, but you see people who have had family members murdered, and one of the things that they will say in the court during the sentencing is they will say
yeah.
to that person, "I forgive you," and I keep thinking to myself like, I don't even know what that means. I don't know how I could do that if someone murdered to me or my family member.
I think because if I think I feel like the core of us, if we don't forgive, then we live with that, and the person that hurt us or hurt the person we loved wins, right? If
Okay.
we give them the power to own our forgiveness and own who and what we are, then we haven't grown and they win. And I think
Okay.
most people who go through trauma, they feel in their heart that first part of grief, right? Trauma, there's a grief sentence afterwards, right? Anger, hate, revenge, all of the areas of grief become a part of us. And one day we get to a place in life where we're like, oh, I cannot live with anger, revenge in my heart forever because then I have lost. And as long as you give your power away to the people that have hurt you have no power, right? It's like really, that's why I keep saying own your story, own your life. They're going to tell the story the way they see it, and you get to own the story the way you feel it and see it. And the first gift that you can give yourself is forgiveness.
I think that's one of the
Because,
best descriptions I've heard of that, being able to let go of that anger. And
yeah,
yeah,
because there's nobody that goes through trauma that doesn't have anger, right? And the day that I forgave my rapist, three football players, I realized that that was all they knew. They felt like that was the way to have an experience with a woman, and that made me feel sad for them. Not so much for myself. After I'd done the healing, I realized how sad for them that they think that that was okay, and they have to live with that for the rest of their lives. And that made me feel pity, and nobody wants to feel pitied upon, right? And I
right.
remember that feeling was like pity, and then I was like, oh God, universe, powers that be, the spirits above, my angels, everybody up there, allow me to forgive them and to forgive me so that we can grow and heal and be beautiful humans. And I pray for them. I hope that they become better humans, and they may not, but my life is good because I found forgiveness and love in my heart.
Through your story, how many people have you actually, do you think you've helped and touched in your life with your,
Oh goodness, I know it's one of those things where you say if you help one person, you've done your job. And honestly, I couldn't tell you, but I know over the course of years how many men and women have reached out to me saying that happened to me because of your story. I'm going to start crying because of your story. I
well,
was able to heal. I had a young woman that I did a show at one of the universities, and she did my music while I was there. And months later, she called me and was like, every single day I listen to your show, to your music, and it reminds me that I'm going to be okay because that happened to me too. And I've gone all over the world from Lithuania to Hawaii to, so many places in the United States with my show. And I hope and pray that I have touched. Sadly, the statistics are still 1 in 4 women and 1 in 13 men have been sexually assaulted. And within that, I hope that I
yeah,
have
I,
touched enough people to help them heal. And then hopefully they get to touch somebody because they've been through it and they were healed, right? We all just pass down our ability to lift other people up out of our help, healing and strength. So I don't
you know,
know. There's not a
well, I have to
number on
say,
that.
what you're saying is that it there. I think I've been conflating forgiveness with forgetting. And in other
Mm-mm.
words, yeah, you don't forget,
You
but
never
you,
forget.
yeah,
Yeah.
but you
Now I
forgive.
can talk about it as if it was a part of my story, but it doesn't devastate me. It doesn't destroy me. It doesn't put me into a puddle. Even when my father passed away, I remember, it was 5 years later. I was like, oh, okay, now I can talk about him without being destroyed, right? But
Hmm.
at first, you're destroyed. So for so much of my life, I passed up on love. I passed up on relationships. I would not allow myself to be loved and to love, because that would mean somehow I would get hurt again. I would be let down and I would get hurt because one of the guys that raped me was the guy that I liked. So for me, it was like, oh, goodness gracious, nobody would ever be good to me. I'll never have an opportunity to really be in a relationship that's healthy. And that's kind of the course of the show where I, took my first lover and really began to love myself and know that I do deserve to have great relationships, a great intimate relationships, a great sex life, which is why I say sex positive. It really
Hmm.
is about those things. And so many of us don't, right? And so many, especially rape survivors, it's traumatic. For years, and sexual experiences can be traumatic, and it was traumatic for me. I would just numb out and be nothing. So to be able to talk healthy and healed is like, oh yeah, baby, let's do this, right? Let's have a good life.
Absolutely.
Let's have a
Yeah.
thriving life. Let's be superheroes and help other people get over their shit so they can live really, really, really good lives.
I think just helping people get over in general is one of the best things that I think people can do in their lives, right? Just helping them be they want to be and telling them that they are better than what they think they are, because we
Yes.
hold ourselves down in our minds all the time. And you
I think that's why you
definitely
have
do
this
not hold
beautiful,
yourself down.
but I think that's why you have this show as well. That's what I feel. It's like the opportunity to speak with people. How many people do you think you've helped along the way, right? Every show you get to do changes somebody's life, and that is a gift from God. I got to tell you what, it's a gift that very few get because we're fearful or we're afraid, and you bring it, baby, and that's what, living out loud in different ways. Everybody's got a gift on this earth. Everybody's a superhero. Everybody on this earth is put here for something spectacular. And then it's beat out of us, or it's shamed out of us, or it's spited out of us, or we become small. We are not meant to live small.
No,
We're
we are
meant to,
not.
as you say, live out loud. And that's huge.
Well, if anyone watches this now or in the future and sees it, I want them to just take away from what you said, be amazing, right? Just get out
Be a
there,
mate.
give everything, and just don't forget those things in the past. Forgive those things in the past and move
Yes.
forward, right?
Yes.
I want people to
Beautiful.
be able to follow you and be part of what you are. And they have several ways to get in touch with you, right? We can get in touch with you through your website, kimleighsmith.com. By the way, I love the amazing name.
Thank you.
We can also find you on Twitter at Totally Kimleigh. Nice. That you see how that flying flows? You took some time with that, didn't you? Totally
I very
Kimleigh
much did.
and Smith on Facebook. So I'm gonna leave the website up here. I want people to be able to find you and be one of your awesome followers. So thank you
Thank
so
you.
much for
I
being on.
appreciate that.
It inspired me just to. The show is about what you just said.
Mm.
Helping others find themselves, be better, and take that and show other people that they can be better, think differently, look at things differently. So thank you.
Yeah. And I think, I leave this one last thing. We forget that the large majority of individuals that are perpetrators have been perpetrated against. And if we can find a way to heal the baby perpetrator, we have a future of really ending violence against other humans, right? But by the time most perpetrators don't have anybody in their life that ever said that they were not wrong and they're not bad. And so we live in this world where we put so much energy on those of us who are victims and have been victimized, that we
Mhm.
forget that those little baby 5-year-olds and 4 years olds who are building a future being perpetrated because they're being perpetrated against need help. And I'm trying to find a way in this world not only to help the survivors, but to really help those little baby victims who become perpetrators. And I don't know how
Mhm.
to do it, but I put that out there because we forget about them, right? We forget about them because they later become perpetrators. We
Right.
forget that they were once victims, right? There's only about 4% of individuals who are sociopaths or psychopaths, or, you know what I mean? Like, that's a small, very small group of people who really cannot be helped because of their sociopathy. But most people that perpetrate are in pain,
Yeah.
deep
We'll find
pain.
out how to do that. It's a mission, and I think you and I
Yes.
might be on the same mission, same page.
Oh, good. I love
Seriously.
that, Michael. I look forward to more of you in my life.
Kimleigh, I will see you in the future. Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, everyone. Michael, what a pleasure. Thank you, Kaden.